What's good? Brian Tong here, and rumors of the all-glass 20th anniversary iPhone being canceled appear to be premature. Apple is rethinking the Apple Watch with an all-new design. New MacBook Pros and iMacs are likely coming in October, and another major sport will be broadcast live in Apple Immersive for the Apple Vision Pro and more. But let's start off with the iPhone, because at one point this past week, Jefferies analyst Edison Lee, who doesn't have a history of being accurate about Apple rumors, said the curved glass 20th anniversary iPhone had been canceled. And of course, now these days it takes one article or even one tweet to set the tech world on fire. Well, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman then chimed in right away to calm the waters and said, yeah, that's not true. It's still happening, and it will still be a heavy glass-centric phone. What's different in the design is that the glass will be used for both the front and the back of the phones, and the design will have the glass curve into the sides of the device with a thin metal band in the middle. Now, some of you are saying, that sounds freaking awesome, like me, and others are saying, that's gonna be a disaster if I drop it. And you actually aren't going to say that out loud, but more inside your head, so it might look like this. Or like this.
Nope.
Now, I've seen a lot of the comments say, Samsung did a curved glass phone, and that didn't last. And you know what? You're right. Samsung has done a curved glass phone with the S6 and S7 Edge phones, but not like this. Not even close. Gurman says a more aspirational version that used even more glass in its design was scrapped early on in the development cycle. So maybe that's the one Lee was talking about, but that happened a long time ago, and he still didn't say there was still one on the way. So I'm just imagining an even sleeker and more refined iPhone 10. And I have no problem with this, because look at this. This has arguably been the most beautiful iPhone we've ever had. It's completely opposite compared to the more industrial and bulkier design that we have right now with the 17 Pro. What I also called one of Apple's ugliest designs ever for the iPhone. Functional, yes, but sexy? No. So we need to get back to this, right? Look how beautiful the curves. Could you imagine this even more refined? I mean, this thing right here is beautiful. But look, there is a reason why the iPhone Air is my daily driver. I mean, this almost might be like the spirit animal, this one. So bottom line, look, don't worry, y'all. The 20th anniversary iPhone is still on its way. And to me, along with the iPhone Air, I hope that this 20th anniversary phone is a statement piece that Apple is back to its roots when it comes to groundbreaking design that others end up copying or replicating in a year or two, because we know that's gonna happen. Now, speaking of groundbreaking design, does it feel like the Apple Watch needs something, like anything? Because we aren't getting any new health sensors to elevate it and truly bring it into this next generation of its life cycle. Look, watchOS wasn't even a big part of WWDC like it had been in the past years. As recent as a few years ago was a main piece, so that's not a good sign for this year. It's also a great product for what it is, but the Apple Watch hasn't taken that leap in a while. Well, according to Mark Gurman, Apple is finally rethinking the Apple Watch, reevaluating the lineup, and considering a revolutionary design change that would be as big of a shift as what a foldable iPhone represents for Apple, something that could transform the product for a new era. And before you say, hey, make a round Apple Watch, guess what? You know, that has probably been one of the options. I actually really have become fond of what the Pixel Watch has become since the Pixel Watch 4 and now the 5. I like how its widgets and functions are organized and laid out swiping through, and I like the clean visuals of its OS. Now, Apple nailed it with the closure rings, but Pixels, its functionality is way ahead of what Apple Watch can do because of Gemini. And there's been real momentum around fitness bands without screens. You got smart rings, and a surprise that Apple, look, they've been trailing in that area as well. So I use a Rincon Air because it's so thin, and I don't have to wear a watch while I'm sleeping. I never liked that, but this is still my favorite smart ring. Or you got the Fitbit Air. That's just a clean and light device that does all the tracking you need. And because these devices are so popular and have reduced the need for a smartwatch, Apple is now considering new Apple Watch style devices with no displays and new Apple Watches with different types of screens and new sizes. And yes, Apple has finally given thought to an Apple Watch with a round display, according to Gurman. But he also said, don't get your hopes up because that's unlikely to be released. Now, I hear people that tell me the Apple Watch is the perfect screen for your watch. And it is nice because of the way text is displayed, like it's on your iPhone. But I don't use it to read emails, and text messages are very occasional, so I don't actually really care about that on the watch. I'd actually be curious to see what Apple does with a round watch concept. I'd even like to see them go maybe into their roots and bring back some of their circular touch wheel interface that is smooth, maybe takes on some of what made the original iPod so special and incorporate it in a round Apple Watch design. That's just me thinking out loud right now. Like, this is not really happening, so don't quote me on this, but like we know, it's slim to none that it's going to happen. Gurman says so. Now, Apple has also considered bringing new premium variants. That would be high-end versions that are above the Ultra and even the Hermes models. Remember when Johnny Ive really fashioned the Apple Watch, the original one, and he wanted to position it as a luxury fashion device, and the very first Apple Watch had this edition version that was a solid 18 karat yellow or rose gold casing that was priced between $10,000 and $17,000. Yeah, don't bring that back. But look, you can get some of the gold plated versions of Apple Watches if you want for around what, $300 to $400-ish if you really want to. Just go online and figure it out. But Apple has figured out that the new direction of their line yet isn't set in stone, according to a report. They're still trying to figure it out, but the focus internally is reinventing it in response to the growing competition that has been happening over the past few years. So we'll see how this all comes together, but I've said it before, and the innovation around the Apple Watch has slowed because of the inability for new sensors to be incorporated. We've heard how hard they've been working on a blood glucose sensor that is non-invasive, but they've probably been working on it for now, what, about a decade, and it still hasn't happened, unfortunately. So maybe it's the lack of also reliable enough data to offer something like what the Pixel Watch 5 just did with blood pressure trends, breathing, and more importantly, insulin resistance trends. So it passively tracks metabolic health and blood sugar related shifts over time using the existing sensors without drawing any blood. And it won't give you an instant blood sugar reading. Nothing can right now on a watch, but it will alert you to concerning trends it sees. And it's the first of its kind on a smartwatch. And you know what? Apple needs more features like this. But what could return for the Apple Watch Series 12 this year? You're looking at it, the ceramic case. Gurman reports that the ceramic case last seen on something like the Apple Watch Series 5, the same one which I happen to be wearing for this video, like, hey, what a coinky dink. Like, I had no idea, and I didn't plan this at all. Well, this ceramic case option is expected to return either this year or in 2027. It was marketed as being 4 times as hard as stainless steel, and whenever I wear it, someone in the know will ask about it. I mean, this looks sassy, okay? Now, I like the idea that it was discontinued because it had value as being more rare. Well, if they release it again, it won't be special anymore, and the last time it was available was in 2019 for something like $1,200. This one I actually got secondhand on eBay. It was like perfect for $400. So I ain't gonna spend $1,200 on an Apple Watch. Actually, I might have with the, ooh, no, I probably did with the high-end version with the watch band. But look, this speaks to how there isn't much excitement and new innovation around the Apple Watch. You can only put out so many new colors and watch bands, and it will most likely be some under-the-hood performance improvements and the addition of the new Siri AI, which still isn't nearly as good as the current Gemini. The reality is that the Apple Watch internally has used the same S10 chip the past 2 years, which was effectively the same chip as the S9 from 2023, and the Apple Watch is still the best-selling smartwatch. And that's a great position to be in, but it's become pretty, let's be real, a little meh over the past few years. People aren't upgrading. In fact, they're looking at more minimalist wearables now and other options, and Apple knows it, right? But again, still the top-selling watch. So they've got to do something different and turn this thing around. All right, let's take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Aqara. If you're looking to level up your smart home, and on top of that, you're in the Apple ecosystem, then you've got to look at Aqara. Other than HomePod, I didn't have a single HomeKit dedicated piece of hardware until I jumped on board with Aqara, and it all started with their Smart Lock U400. Now, I've been using it for almost, what, 5-6 months now? And this is the best Apple ecosystem smart lock, mainly because it supports ultra wideband. That means you can walk up to your door and have a contactless experience because of its high precision location tracking as it senses your phone getting close. Sure, you can unlock it with your fingerprint, you could use Bluetooth to unlock it manually with an app, or you can use the touchpad with a code, or even the old-fashioned key. They all work, but ultra wideband makes the smart lock the best that I've used completely hands-free. Now, another Aqara addition in my smart home is the thermostat hub W200. This also takes advantage of Apple ecosystem first, like adaptive temperature and clean energy guidance that was introduced in iOS 26. So with adaptive temperature, Apple hardware and software basically know when you're at home and can intelligently detect if you're moving around the house, asleep, or away by integrating with devices like the iPhone, Apple Watch, and HomePod. And this is all basically happening in the background because you are part of the ecosystem. With clean energy guidance, the thermostat can gain access to the local grid, energy cleanliness, real-time electricity pricing, and other environmental data. And by knowing these things, it will intelligently schedule energy usage when electricity is cleaner or more affordable. So if you want to find out more about these Aqara products that elevate your smart home, check out the link in the description. Okay, let's get back to the stories, and just an update around the iPhone Ultra, Apple's first foldable iPhone that you can't stop hearing about. Reports claim the launch might be spread out over time because of supply chain setbacks, and this is the first time Apple has had to manufacture a device like this. Now, according to reports, the iPhone Ultra may see a staggered country-to-country launch over several months with initial limited availability in the US. Now, local phone carriers have reportedly been told that Apple's first foldable won't even be available and will be a no-show when the iPhone 18 Pro models launch in September, even if they're unveiled together at Apple's fall event. The iPhone Ultra, this is expected to be released in the US first, most likely in October, and then other major markets like China and others will follow over the next 2 to 3 months. Now, there have been multiple reports that Apple has also been having testing issues with production models that have already been built. Ugh. Now, the expectation is that we will see it in September, and I hope to get my hands all over it for you. And look, I will touch it as much as possible, tastefully that is, but it will be available later and maybe more like October in the US. Now, we also might, and I emphasize that we might see Apple roll out its new smart home lineup with a new Apple Smart Home Hub, a new Apple TV 4K, and a new HomePod Mini at the fall event. We've still been waiting for it, and it's still the new Siri AI and Apple Intelligence that needs to be ready before we see them. That's what's been delaying them. There's been no heat around this happening yet at the fall event, but look, I'm sure we'll hear more as it gets closer unless Apple has a separate event for it. And if we're talking about upcoming products, a new report from Bloomberg says Apple is likely going to unveil the new M6 MacBook Pro and refreshed iMacs in October if we're following their similar release schedule. This would be the entry-level MacBook Pro 14-inch model with an M6 chip, with the higher-end MacBook Ultra we've talked about a lot, with the new design, the OLED Touch display, and M5 Pro and M5 Max chips expected either by the end of this year or early in 2027. Now, Apple has been testing those laptops with macOS 27.1, which is currently set to release to consumers by the end of October. So look, this is all lining up. Now, the iMac will either be an updated 24-inch model with an M5 chip or the new M6 chip that would replace the current model with an M4. No design changes are expected, and honestly, I really like the iMac design right now with its fun colors and the way it is. Plus, Apple's reportedly working on a 24-inch iMac with an OLED display, but that's not coming out anytime soon. And we're talking about maybe a couple of years out or more. And finally, just a quick mention here because you know how much I raved about the Apple Vision Pro airing live NBA games in Apple Immersive Video. It's still the most incredible sports experience at home that I have ever experienced, and getting front court seats or right behind the backboard is freaking awesome. Well, now Apple will be doing the same with Friday Night Baseball, and that's included with an Apple TV subscription. So Major League Baseball games in immersive video sounds awesome. But look, I'm curious how it will translate because in baseball, the camera shots are a lot further, they're a lot wider. And with the NBA, you got to be up close and right in the grill of these players. Baseball, it just isn't like that, and you can't put a camera right in front of a pitcher or a batter either. So look, I'm all for new content and the expansion of live sports in immersive, but I'm a little worried it will feel, I don't know, generally like a normal baseball game that's in 3D immersive video, but isn't like feel super immersive, if that makes sense. The NBA games felt like something completely different, and I don't know if we're gonna get that. But this is scheduled for 4 games, and the first one will be on August the 28th between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. That's a banger to kick off with. I'll be there in immersive, but the response I get from people is, this sounds cool, but too bad I'll never get experience because I'm not paying $3,500 to try it out. And yeah, that is the biggest problem Apple still has with the Apple Vision Pro, but I'll keep saying it, incredible, absolutely incredible piece of technology, but it's too heavy, it's too expensive. And we don't think Apple's gonna do anything about that anytime soon. So we'll see how hopefully some of what they have learned trickles down to their first wearable glasses that we expect to see next year in 2027. All right, That's gonna do it for this video. If you like what you see, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my latest videos when they drop. And if you want more of that Apple goodness, you can check out my Apple Bits XL audio podcast with the latest stories and special guests. Plus, you can support all my content with an ad-free version of the podcast, early access to my content, and exclusive content at patreon.com/BrianTong. So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all on the next video. Peace and love.